Most of the time when working with CSS, you're going to know exactly which classes and IDs to target because you'll be coding those yourself. When working with jQuery Mobile, a lot of your styles are generated by the library. So the process is a little bit different. Let's take a look at how we can style our homepage with more customized CSS. So I'm going to start by adding a logo. Here's the homepage CSS, and here's the content. Right now it's just a line of text, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to add an image. My image is going to be in the images folder, and it's going to be the view source logo.png, and I'll just put view source logo right here. So that logo is really big. That's okay. I'm going to control it with a little bit of CSS. So I'll open up my CSS file. It's in the underscore folder and also in the CSS folder. And one of these files right here called mystyle.css is how I'm going to control the CSS for my project. So every page in jQuery Mobile has an ID, and the home page has an ID of home. So we can target that whenever we need to. And I'm going to add a style that aligns the text in the center. And I'm going to put a background image. So my background tag is going to say URL. And it's going to find an image in the images folder. And that image is going to be called background underscore view source.png. So right now you can tell that it's not coming up. You got to remember that the CSS file is in this CSS folder that's inside the underscore folder. It's not in the same level as this images folder right here. So I have to back up a couple of directories. So I'll just do .. And now you can see the background has come in. I do want it to repeat, so I'll take off these defaults. And now my background repeats quite nicely. So I want to change the width of the buttons, but it's not clear what those selectors are because I didn't put them there myself. jQuery Mobile took care of adding those. If you're in any WebKit browser and Espresso's preview is actually WebKit based, all you need to do is right-click on any element to see its code. So if I right-click on top of one of these buttons right here, one of the options is to inspect element. And again, if you're using something like Safari or Chrome, you should be able to see this pop-up come up. Once you do that, you're going to notice that since this item is selected, I can look for that element right here on this tab. So you got to be on this Elements tab. You'll see that the item is selected right here. And let me see if I can scroll this up a little bit. So when I go over that item, you can see that that item is selected. Now, I don't want to change the width of just one item. I want the entire column of buttons. So I'm going to move my mouse up, and there it's showing me that this is the link. So if I click on that, it'll select the link, and I'm going to go up again, and now it selects the whole column of buttons. So from here, I can tell that jQuery Mobile has added a few classes to this data role control group. So you can see here's the class tag, and inside that, there's a bunch of new tags. So I see the UI corner all, UI control group, and UI control group vertical. The one that makes the most sense to me is the UI control group class. So I'm going to target that over here now, knowing what it is. And I'll just do home because I don't want to change any other page. The class is UI control group. I'll set the width of that to be 60% of the width of the page. You can see the buttons have resized. So as I make this smaller or bigger, it's going to be 60% of that width. But now I lost my centering, so I need to fix that. And I'll do that by using margin 0 auto. So vertically, the margin at the top and bottom are going to be 0. And then it's going to be an automatic margin on either side, which centers this image. I'm going to add a little bit more room to the top of my logo as well. So I'll do a margin top. And I want that margin top to be 20 pixels, just a little bit further down from the top of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this header because it's really not doing anything on the home page. And so let me go into my index file and just get rid of this header right here. I'm just going to cut it out, and there it is. Then I'm going to go back into my style sheet, and I can tell the image is way too big. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And so what I'll do is I'll target a home image. And I will make the width of that image be 50%, so it makes it a lot smaller. And right now, unfortunately, if I make this window way too big, so say that I'm in a desktop computer or I'm in an iPad, this is going to grow way too large. So what I'm also going to do is set up a max width, and that max width will be, let's try 200 pixels. So if I make this really huge, that logo is going to get a little bigger, but not a lot bigger. So that is a lot better, just in case if I'm on an iPad. Also, it would really bother me to see the buttons get that wide. So I can also use a max width for the buttons. So for this control group, I'm also going to add a max width. And I'll go ahead and make that like 250 pixels. So if this gets really huge, my buttons are never going to be that large. If it gets a little smaller, that's okay. The window on an iPhone is going to be a little bit smaller than this. So these will get a little bit smaller, but they won't grow past whatever size you specify under max width. So I'm going to close this elements thing right here, and I'll check out some of my other pages. Everything's looking pretty good. So I'm noticing that the fonts for some of these pages are reset back to the default font for the browser. So just in case, I'm going to go up here and change the body tag and just give it a font family. And I'll put in Helvetica, Arial, and sans serif. And that just changes the fonts for the entire page. Although there's a lot of different ways to customize your jQuery mobile sites, sometimes you have to dig into the CSS to get just the right look for your applications. Knowing where to find the styles through the developer tools is critical. We'll be doing more styles in other pages as we continue to work on this app, but the process is the same. Find the proper selector and then adjust it with CSS.